This is going to be a short review or an overview of a new Schmidt Bender scope called Polar. The series is Polar T96. It was first shown to the public at SHOT Show 2015, and now at the end of 2015 the first production model left the factory. About 3 years ago, Zeiss started a match, or how to say, a competition, who will make the brightest scope on the market. They started this with a Victory HT model, which is meant for high transmission model, which uses SHOT special glass for high transmission. And this year Schmidt Bender prepared their reply, we could say. And so they made this 2.5 to 10 by 50 Polar model with a 96% of light transmission rate. This is only at one specific wavelength of light, but still, even in general, this scope is the brightest in the world, at least according to the measurements made by Schmidt Bender. What is even more impressive, they were brave enough to show the whole performance and the whole spectrum of visible light, all the way from 400 nanometers to 650 nanometers. So they showed the entire measurement. What is even more funny is that they have shown explicitly, almost explicitly, with which scope they compared their Polar. This looks almost like on like in American commercials, where two competing products are shown and are competing each against each other. Well, but nonetheless, at least at one peak, you can see the light transmission rate is more than 96%, and this is definitely a big achievement. What I like even more about this scope is how good the eye box is. That means that this scope is not even slightly sensitive to the eye position. It's much better than the Stratos series of scopes, even though even Stratos series of scopes are really good, but this one is outstanding compared to any scope on the market. It has a 4x zoom ratio with 2.5, starting with magnification 2.5 and going all the way up to 10. So this is a all-around usable hunting scope. It has a quite wide field of view, 15 meters at 100 meters. And what is also very interesting is that it has a really big tube for a hunting scope. It has a 34 millimeter tube, almost like on tactical scopes. You can also order it with rail, and here the second big thing happened, and that is that this scope is available either with Schmidt Bender convex rail, or like this particular model with a Zeiss inner rail. What is really funny, but this is due to the fact that Zeiss mounts for the mounts for Zeiss inner rail or Zeiss ZMVM rail are much more widely available than mounts for the Schmidt Bender convex rail. This is the reason why now even the Schmidt Bender is offering their scopes with a Zeiss internal rail. It has an extreme elevation of 38 mils, not really needed on a hunting scope. What is more interesting for me is that I always thought, and everywhere where I went to the factories where they produce rifle scopes, they said that the tube doesn't have much effect on the light transmission rate. This is the reason why 8x56 fixed power scopes are still among the brightest, and they all have mostly 1-inch tubes. But obviously, by this design, I presume, I don't know, I'm just guessing, probably the 34 millimeter tube offered the possibility to the engineers to make the light transmission rate that high. The scope is all made out of metal. Every part you touch is made out of metal, no rubber anywhere, even at the fast focus. It's fully metal and also the magnification ring. It still changes the magnification from 10 to 2.5 in 180 degrees, so in 1/2 of a turn. Really nice. The illumination, as you can see, button is the same like on all other Schmidt Bender hunting scopes. It's only 33 centimeters long and really light. This one with rail weighs approximately 650 grams, without a rail probably 600. It comes with a 10 years warranty and it's really nicely made. The turrets, as you can see, this one has a BDC, ballistic hunting turret. It has a 0 stop. It also has the locking function, as you can see. Here is the switch to lock the position of the turret. Now it's unlocked. Now it's locked. I really like this locking feature since this is so discreet. And what is also interesting is that this BDC turret is not much bigger than normal cap. Of course, you have to order a model with a BDC turret. Normally it comes only with normal cap turrets and with Posicon system. This is Posicon system. That means that you have an indication how good your mount is. Since if you have to dial too much clicks to achieve 0, then you will see this pin goes to the red, and that means that you have to adjust your mounting, not the scope anymore. A really nice feature. This Posicon feature is common for all hunting scopes from Zenith and Stratos line, and now also Polar line. If you order and pay a little bit of extra for the BDC turret, you get a turret which has a 0 stop, 2 clicks below 0, and approximately 100 clicks in 1 revolution. This is really enough for any kind of long-range hunting, but in contrary to other models made by competitors, there is no possibility to have engraved markings for distances like 1 for 100, 2 for 200, 3 for 300 and so on. You still need to know something about the ballistic to use this BDC turret, so you need to know how many clicks you need to dial at a specific distance. The clicks are very crisp and very nice, audible like expected from Schmidt Bender. The reticle in this scope, it's either you can choose in the first focal plane or in the second focal plane. I really like this because this is probably the last modern high quality, high tech hunting scope which offers the reticle in the first focal plane. The illumination in this model, it's only for low light use. It's not a flash dot or anything similar, only for low light. And it has 11 different intensity levels so that you can really precisely tune the intensity for the appropriate lighting conditions. The illumination is really good for low light hunting. So on one side you have the brightest optics, and on the other side you have a really nicely made and nicely adjustable illumination for low light use. So if I make a short summary, well, before the summary, the scope comes with a 10 years warranty and a really nice manual, new manual which describes everything of the scope. You also get, if you order the model with a rail mounting, you get a special rubber inlays or inserts for the rail, and of course the caps for the lenses. So to the summary, what to say, this is the brightest scope available at the moment, at the end of 2015. It offers 96% of light transmission rate. Really great result. The second thing which is really great on this scope is the eye box. It's really hard to find a better scope in this regard. It also has really nice BDC turrets which do how to say, they are really nice, but you need to know something about the ballistics. They are not BDC for dummies. there are no numbers for distances. You need to know the exact number of clicks. I also think that the option to mount the scope with that size inner rail is a really smart decision, since mounts for size inner rail are really common and easy to obtain. Where is the room for improvement, or what could have been done better? Since this is not a super zoom, this is normal. This is a really bright scope. So if you need a bright scope, 4x zoom is in this moment probably a limiting factor. I would like to see it with a 50mm objective lens, so they have the biggest objective lens possible. Either from that, I think this is pretty much the perfect scope for someone who is looking for a bright scope with not too many features. So thank you for watching. If you will need any additional information, send us an email, post questions in comments, or visit our webpage. Thank you.